Good afternoon. Welcome to the Department of Procurement Services annual e-procurement workshop. This is our first one for the year, so I'm kind of excited. I've had a couple of months off. I haven't been doing a presentation on e-procurement, but I welcome your presence here today. You guys have a handout, a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to do most of this through a live presentation. I will try to follow the handout as much as I can based on the links I've provided at the top for me to follow. But I found that when I looked through the PowerPoint presentation, it had a little bit more information that you guys might should be interested in. It's informational for you, but I will begin our presentation. I'm Pam Walker-Smith, Project Coordinator for the Department of Procurement Services. My length of service within my department has been over 30 years now. I love what I do. I've been in different factions within the department as supervisor and manager, and now I'm IT. I've always been a trainer. I've always been a support person. So this niche that I'm in right now is quite apropos for who I am, my character, and what I do. I love helping the public. I love serving the people. If you got a question, I'll answer it. If it's broke, I'm going to fix it. If I can't, I'll direct you to and or find the person that can. But generally, I'm the fixer. So that's not a problem. Our first page here, let me see, make sure. Okay. We're on the home page of what we call our microsite. Okay. There is a link in your workshop, and it is www.cityofchicago.org/eProcurement. I don't think you have to write it down. It is, and it should be in here. We'll come up to it if not, but I believe it is. This is what we call our microsite, and it was designed for the eProcurement iSupplier process. So what is eProcurement iSupplier? Former Mayor Rahm Emanuel's tender, he proposed that the city of Chicago be fully electronic in our solicitation process. Fully electronic means that bid submittals can be processed and submitted online and read online. If a solicitation is not e-procurement, it's a paper bid in a normal, old-fashioned, standard way as it started. And so the vendor would come down to room 103 in City Hall and request a bid specification. You'll get a hard copy. If it's a construction contract, there's one of those, we'll use construction as an example, contract pages could be over 1,000 pages. Because you got plans and drawings, and you got all the special conditions, and not to mention your proposal pages, which are your line items. So it's very big. A lot of paper. File room is bigger than this. That we file our contracts away, our paper contracts. So Mayor Emanuel, initiated the e-procurement process, which all city departments had to adhere to. So if you were a city department like delegate agency, I'm going to make a brief overview, but it's so much. If you were a city department like the delegate agency departments, our departments that do not manage and maintain contracts in the same way that DPS does, procurement, our acronym is DPS. If you don't manage to maintain contracts in the same manner, you had to. Whereas in the delegate agency process, their payments and processing part was all grant funded. So you didn't have to go through a bid solicitation, but now they do. So it's different for them. We've been in this process now since 2016. We're 2020 now, so we've had a year to learn it, a year to fix, debug it, and now 2019 was very successful, and now we're in 2020, and we're very excited about the new contract types that will be on board. Currently, our contract types that are fully e-procurement are construction and commodities. All of those contracts are now e-solicitations. They must be read online, they must be bidded online, they must be read when we do our bid opening online. The other contract types that are in e-procurement, but they are not fully yet e-procurement, are our pro-serve contracts and our small orders. Upcoming for 2020, and hopefully by uh, fall, we'll have our work services and our vehicles and heavy equipment being begin to be piloted. So we're working towards really becoming fully with e-solicitations and not accepting any paper bids, but right now we do currently still accept a paper bid, even if it's an e-procurement. There's reasons for that. So we're excited, and so because of that, it was a long learning curve on this, and we built this website here, the microsite, as a training tool and a method of how-tos for our vendors, right? So across the orange ribbon, we have home, login and registration, current bids and solicitation opportunities, online training materials, delegates, which is specific to the delegate agency departments, and our help. On the front page of the home page, we have our 2020 workshop schedule. So this is our first one here, January 26th for the year, and right now they have them scheduled up in this room 1103, where they're always held on a Thursday from 2 to 3 o'clock up until April. Here below, the delegate agencies, they also have their training schedules, and their trainings are generally held here at 43rd and Cottage Road. Procurement does not speak to the delegate process because their process is so much different from ours, so I cannot speak to the delegate process. But if there are any vendors in here who are delegate agency vendors, being that you are working with the Department of Planning, or you're working with Department of Health, or DFSS, and there are some other departments, but you are mainly considered a delegate because your funding is grant-based funding, not as like you being paid by the City of Chicago through controller. All of the caveats to being an iSupplier vendor is that you're able to view and respond to our bids and our solicitations that are online. You're able to look at, prior to being an iSupplier vendor, once you've registered as an iSupplier vendor, then you're able to look at your old past contracts and payments and invoices, because your vendor name and number is tied to that database. So although those prior contracts were not e-solicitations, you'll be able to look at your payments and invoices and receipts. As a vendor, yes ma'am.
Is this what we're seeing on the board?
Yes ma'am.
Because is anybody else?
Her slides are not these.
So again, the handouts that you have are prepared for the workshop, but because the mode of operation with the e-procurement is so intricate, the trainers, myself, I can't follow this. So I give you a live presentation, okay? When we come up to some of these things that are in this slide sheet, it'll be up here. So I've tried to follow this as much as I possibly can, but I'm probably 6-7 pages in by now of what's here, maybe. So the other caveat, especially for me, is that as a vendor, you're able to update your own vendor record. That's been a part of my what to do forever, is managing and maintaining the City of Chicago's vendor database. Can't imagine how large that is. Numbers infinite. And so if there's a address change, vendor name change, contact name change, phone number, email, addresses, such and such, updating, inactivation, all that's been what I do as an individual and as a manager of the unit. Now, you guys can do. I love that part, that the vendor is able to manage and maintain their own vendor database. If you have a question, of course, we'll answer it, but the ability for you to go in and look at it and call our help desk, which now we have a help desk, we'll get to that, and it's not solely my responsibility. Now, you're able to change all those addresses. Just imagine, the city of Chicago, one vendor, you've moved several times, but guess what? We've had several turnovers, and people come in and do things different than the person before. Instead of them updating an address, they may add a new address. So that's clogging up the clogging up the database. You, the vendor, are able to go in there and say, hey, we're not hearing, we don't work, this is no longer our business address. I want it to go away. You're able to inactivate that. So, that's a caveat for me, and it's a caveat for you, and I'm glad that you guys have that advantage. So that's all for the home page. Next, we'll look at login and registration. Let me see if I can find that for you.
Page 3.
Page 3? Absolutely. Okay. See, it's a lot of information there. Okay. Login and registration. This is always not problematic, but a point of concern. Log in. Log in means that you have registered and you're able now to log in to the Oracle system to look at your iSupplier folder, or you're able to bid. That's login. Register is just that. You have to register if you already are not, not already. You register when you are not and have not done business with the city. You do not have a vendor code. You're not getting paid by the city. You've never done business with the city. You're interested in doing business with the city, so you would register here. I'm going to ask you some questions. When you click on vendor registration, it will give you this page here. So we did a lot of phone calls and a lot of questions, and the caller said, I have a vendor number with the city of Chicago, and it's alphabet E95 breaks. We don't start with alphabet. So already I know that you're not a city of Chicago vendor. You are a vendor of some kind within the city, such as our sister agencies, being city colleges, CHA, the Park District, McPeer, PDC, our Public Building Commission. Those are our sister agencies. And so you may have a vendor number with them. And that vendor number that you have with them is not collective with the city of Chicago's business process. So you can't use it for us. And they'll say, I have a vendor number, and it's not, I know that number's not related to the city of Chicago. And so, it takes a little bit more conversation to discover that you don't have a vendor number with the city of Chicago. So that's just to tell you that if you're looking to do business with the city and you're going to give us, and you think that, and you have a vendor number with any other entity within the city of Chicago, it does not relate to the city of Chicago.
So would their bid opportunities show on your procurement site or no?
Interesting. We are currently working towards that, but at this moment, no, they don't. But because they are our sister agencies, we are working together right now to have their solicitations on our website. Can't say it's gonna happen in 2020, but we're working towards that, yes. Yes, ma'am.
I see under the Chicago vendors, does, does the city of, Department of Human Services, like, childcare falls under your,
So that's a city department, so yes, it does. What you see are our sister agencies within the city
okay.
of Chicago, but not the city of Chicago, right?
So it
Not
falls
City
under
Hall.
Chicago, but it's not a sister.
Um, DFSS, Department of Family and Services Support, or you're speaking to what exactly?
Just being able to bid for like child care grants.
That's up under our delegates departments, right? And so it would probably be Department of Family and Support Services, which is DFSS, that's a department. These right here are entities within the city of Chicago. These are our sister agencies, other companies.
Okay.
So like I said, Chicago City colleges are not now, that's kind of a misnomer right here, because some city colleges, like Board of Trustees, has a gazillion city colleges, and it may be the junior colleges, but I'm not real sure that's tied into the city, but Chicago City colleges as a whole, they're not part of the city of Chicago. So if you had a vendor number with them, you couldn't use it for the city of Chicago as a named vendor with the city. You can't. Nor CHA, nor Park District, nor CPS, and I get a lot of phone calls from vendors at CPS that, yeah, because they're told to call us because you have a vendor number, and that's how you get a contract with CPS. That's not true. Okay, that's not true. Now, the other thing here is request an iSupplier invitation. So for one, you can register when you are not doing business with the city. You've never done business with the city. You've not gotten a paycheck or paying your employees from the check that you're getting from controllers. That's when you have to register to become a vendor for the city of Chicago. But when you are a vendor currently with the city of Chicago and you do have a vendor number, but you're not an iSupplier vendor, then you can request an iSupplier invitation. Okay? And that iSupplier, that request will come to a dedicated mailbox, and we have a help desk now, and those employees will respond to your request for a supplier invitation. So again, what's the difference? Requesting an iSupplier invitation says that, yes, I am a vendor with the city of Chicago, but I want to bid on an electronic solicitation. Or, I'm not interested in bidding on an electronic solicitation, but I do want the ability to manage and maintain my vendor database, or I do want to be able to go and look at my previous payments, invoices, and receipts. Okay? So again, that's yet another advantage.
Can you request iSupplier invitation if you have registered but never done any business?
Repeat that.
Can you request the iSupplier invitation,
Yeah.
but you registered but still have not done any business?
So you registered to be an iSupplier vendor, but you haven't done any business with the city?
I have not registered, but
Okay.
it's a question.
No, if you have not done any business with the city, then you have to do a new vendor registration
Yes.
here. New vendor registration,
Okay.
if you've never done business,
Okay.
right? Again, in the up front, we had registered, and now, and it means the same thing, new vendor registration, if you've never done business.
So that's synonymous for a new vendor.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. For current vendors, iSupplier invitation is your code word, right? And what that does is when you register once you are registered, what happens is you get a login ID and you get a password into our Oracle system, right? And so Oracle, FMPS is our financial management purchasing system. FMPS managed and maintained by Oracle, right? So now that's how the city of Chicago does business. So in order for you to look at the solicitation and submit that solicitation, because from that point on, once that requisition is created by the user department saying, hey, we want to buy 100 million gazillion widgets, once that's entered into the system, then in order for you to get into the system, you have to be a part of Oracle, so you have to register, right? And you'll get a login ID, which is generally your email address, and you'll get a temporary password, and then you're able to change your password, and now you're able to get 2 responsibilities into a system where I probably have 10, you have 2, right? And those 2 would be, we'll get there. Okay. So now we've gone through our homepage, and we know that our sister agencies are not intertwined with the city of Chicago, but the one thing that is intertwined with the city of Chicago is Cook County. So if you can't speak to their purchase, because they do have a procurement department as well, I cannot say that I don't believe that their vendor numbers intertwine with the city, but what is your certifications. If you're certified as an MBE certified company, then that certification you can get from the city of Chicago and or Cook County. That intertwines. You don't have to get, you do not have to register with the city for MBE if you have one with the county and vice versa. Okay. Right. On our orange ribbon, which I call your holy grail, I promise, this orange ribbon right here is all you need to learn how to navigate through the portal. We call it the iSupplier portal, this orange ribbon, and once we get to online training material. So here is our eProcurement bid and solicitations page, right? I think I did bring those pages up. I believe I did. What this is our bid solicitations, electronic and or paper. And what it's explaining to you, the vendor, is that, one, if you're not registered, if you don't believe you were registered, you can register. You can click on this blue link and it'll take you to the registration page. Here, it discusses our pre-bid and pre-submittal conference attendees listing. So, often, our business process since eProcurement iSupplier is that when a solicitation is let, we highly suggest that you come to the pre-bid or the pre-submittal, because that's the training that you'll get and the tutorial and the support from the engineers, the user department, the procurement specialist, and myself if I have to go and and show you how to submit the solicitation for that particular RFQ, RFP, right? So we do a walkthrough with you at a pre-bid. So that's, and here is just the pre-bid listing. So you can see who in attendance was also interested in that same thing that you were interested in. Here, this blue link is for our non-eProcurement bid solicitation. So this is what that looks like. For e-solicitations, we call it an abstract. And that's here. So now, excuse me. So now what's going to happen, once you log in to the system, you will be able to see terminologies changed as well once the system, our business process changed. So event here, the second column, is actually our contract types. So our contract types are commodities, and then we have a RFQ down here. But here, these that speak to delegate agency, these are all delegate solicitations that are coming up.
So what does that mean, delegate?
Delegate agency is another department within the city of Chicago where they're all grant funded, public related, commodities, right? It's a service to the public, as a company, not like a company that's a service to the city. Okay, and generally their method of payment or how they're able to receive funding for the project is via grant. I can't think of it right now.
Sure.
I can't think of it, but there was a name for their grant funding process, and it's no longer. They have to go, the delegate agency solicitation process has to go through a bid opening process, the same way the city does. New business.
But still through this.
Yes, yes, sir. All of the delegates. Whereas procurement, the city of Chicago, we still have some paper bids that are not e-solicitations. The delegates process cyber grants. That's what it was called. The delegates, the cyber grants. The delegates process is now all e-procurement. And the way you would find their open and active solicitations is through the abstract. Yes, sir.
Is that abstract screen sortable? Like if I wanted to see all the construction contracts, is there a category sorting
Nope,
capability
so
there?
now I have an error message because I wanted to help you.
Oh, that's my fault?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I do work in IT, I can fix it.
Okay, well, we can talk about that because I'm not sure. I can't say that you can or that you can't. And I can't say that it does not or it does. I see right now I have all commodities here though. I have not played with that to test to see if that's what that does, because that's just like not a major concern, but you as a business person, that may be a major concern for you. So sure, I would like to find out to make sure that that's accurate.
The reason why I ask is because every time I go out and I look for stuff, and I don't think I've ever been on this site, but through the county, most of what I come across is construction contracts. And
On the county side?
And I'm not in the construction business or the road projects and that kind of stuff, so.
Well, let's see, because this is.
I'd like to weed through those quickly.
Absolutely. So these right here, let's just see, because now I'm curious, because after M is N, so yeah, there's commodities. So it's at the, so of course it's at the column header. It's not like it's a sort key over here or anything, you click in the column and you can get a sort.
Oh, if you click on that column header,
I
it's
clicked
sort
on the column header and
Okay.
sorted, and then it gave me an error message, but I was able to back button and it came back.
I'll fix that for y'all.
And then it came back sorted. Okay. It errored and it came back sorted. Okay. Plus two, these are old. I don't see anything new. Well, this one here for transportation. I'm gonna forget my number that I have to. Anyway, so that answers your question. So again, this is the abstract, and again, so to go from left to right, we have our department name. This is the department that's letting out has the solicitation for the, has put the request to procurement services to put out this solicitation, right? So now, 2020, the departments are merging, right? So this is the Department of Assets, Information, and Services, which is actually our former DO-IT Department of Office into something in technology, innovation and technology, DO-IT. Now it's the Department of Assets, Information, and Services, right? They're merging with, via 2FM, DO-IT, and it's another department that they merged with. OEMC merged with police and fire and somebody else, so that's new for 2020, and I gotta get used to these, new acronyms. So let's just say department names. We're gonna go from left to right. Department name, Department of Assets, Information and Systems, event, contract type, commodity. Program models, procurement doesn't use them. Solicitation number, this right here, that's your number, the solicitation number. That's the number that you're gonna be searching by. We'll go through that. The specification number. The spec number, when you're searching, is actually named title. We'll see that shortly. The solicitation title is always led by the specification number here. And then the title of the solicitation. Advertisement date. Advertisement date is the date that the paper is going to, is the date that the solicitation is going to be advertised in the paper. We advertise through the Chicago Sun-Times. If it's a target market, I believe we advertise through Indigo, and it may be another MBWE paper that we advertise target markets through, along with Sun-Times, but that's your paper source for solicitation. Supplier response start date is the date that the bid opens, same as the advertisement date. Again, sorry, terminology change. Advertisement date is the bid opening date, same date the bid opened, in same date of the response, it's one and the same. Supplier response due date is the date is the date that the bid opens. Advertisement date is the date that the bid enters into the paper. And the response due date, the response start date is the same date, meaning that it's in the paper today, you can come on and look, you can see it online, and you can begin to fill out your questions and whatever it is that you have to do here. The due date, the date the bid opens, 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. We strongly suggest, highly suggest, do not wait till the date of the bid opening to start to process your paper. More than enough time have we had vendors time out at 10:58. Your bid is not submitted. Because once you scroll down and hit submit, it's 11 o'clock. You lost out. System shuts that solicitation down. Okay, so don't wait till the day of bid opening to try and submit. And I highly recommend, really, because we go through that enough, and we have enough dialogue with the vendors to really educate them about that, and they still do it. And it's not our fault or a problem if you did not submit your bid on time.
Now, you're saying the bid opening date, but I understand that to mean the date that you actually make it available for people to bid on. Are you referring to the bid response due date?
Start.
Start is when we can see it and we can say, hey, I'd like to bid on that.
That's exactly correct.
Right, but the due date is the last date at which we can do that, right?
It's the date the bid opens, at 11 o'clock.
That's counterintuitive, right?
No, sir. No, sir, it's not. That, the supplier response start date is the same date that the bid is advertised in the paper, right?
Understood that.
The supplier response due date is the date the bid is opening and going to be read at 11 a.m. It's not the time to start. You're done. You start at 11, you're done.
So the word
You don't have an
open
opportunity.
is not when
Opening
we
is
all are open for all of
counterintuitive
us
to
to
what
see.
you
It's
were
like you're
thinking.
opening the envelope
Right.
of the,
Right.
like the old
No,
terminology.
no. I'm stating that the terminology changed. It was we once called it the bid opening date. That's the date the bid is open, going to be read, right? The bid is always advertised. There's always been a bid advertisement date, but they just call it now. They removed the word bid advertisement, right? Because that's the date in the paper. Opening means that it's going to be read on that day at 11 o'clock. You do see that where it says 11, on this column row here, that's the day it opens, that means do not try to start your bid at 9:30 if you got a 30-line item solicitation. You can if you want to, you may not make it. Yes, ma'am.
So, between February the 23rd and March 30th,
Yes,
so February the 23rd, I'm made aware of this bid.
correct.
And from that date, prior to the 30th,
Mm-hmm,
I can go in and submit everything it is I need to submit.
mm-hmm.
Because on the 30th, at that time, that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna have time. So I need to use that
You can do it up until,
that time.
yes,
So between
way
the
before
23rd
11 though. Yeah.
So between the 23rd and let's say the 29th will be the most
Fail safe. Yeah.
right to submit whatever I need to submit. So
That's
that
right.
on the 30th by 11 o'clock, I'm already in the system. I'm already everything is there. So
Absolutely.
it's out when
We're gonna go through that.
Okay.
This advertisement date in the Sun Times,
Mm-hmm.
how long do that advertisement run? Just that one particular day?
No, I think it runs, 3 days.
And if you miss those 3 days, how can you find this particular?
You come, okay, well, the other thing too is, I'm not sure, we got like 20 minutes too. Sign up for DPS alerts.
Okay.
The DPS alerts would, if you go to our homepage, cityofchicago.org/procurement, you go to our homepage, you'll get a link down at the bottom of the page for DPS alerts. DPS alerts will send you an email every Monday of our list of bid openings, okay? And it'll tell you when the advertisement date and the due date is. So that's another way for you to get that.
You haven't getting that.
Okay,
I've
good.
never seen anything.
Well, you haven't seen anything of your interest, yes, that fits your need and what your business.
And that was, my question was gonna be to, can you specify, you know, your particular,
DPS
event?
buying plan. It's also on our website,
Yes.
yes.
I want to ask you, so as of the date of February 23rd, we can start submitting bits and pieces of the solicitation?
You will start entering into a draft,
Okay.
yes, don't submit it. You're entering into a draft until you're ready to submit.
Okay.
You open it up and you type anything, save it,
Okay.
and now you have a draft.
Because that's where I got caught up before.
Because if you submit it before you end it, before you finish it, your bid is incomplete.
Right, but
Okay.
you know, when I got caught up before, I was told that we could submit bits and pieces as long as it's in the system, but in the process, we missed a deadline.
You can't
because-
submit bits and pieces. You're speaking to a delegate process, and so I will dare speak to delegates for the delegate process, but, you can contact them at 312-744-HELP, and they'll help you. Never do that though. If you submit, if you submit and you haven't signed the electronic signature page, you're incomplete.
Right, but that's what I'm asking. Can you be incomplete until the process, until you can get to the end of your solicitation?
But it'll be a draft. The status will say draft.
It was saved as a draft.
Yeah, the status will be a draft. It shows us that we have a vendor who has created a solicitation,
Okay,
but it's not active. It's a draft.
okay.
They started it on this day and that time, but it's not active. They never completed it.
But if you don't get to the end of it by that bid opening date,
Right.
then
We missed
you
that
won't
deadline.
even be in consideration then.
If your name is in there and we see that, oh, this, vendor Pam Smith, opened up this solicitation and she submitted a draft. She has a draft. It's not a submitted, that's just terminology. Its status is draft. March 28th, last activity. It shows that, right? It is now March the 30th at 9:30, right? I'm going in and I'm trying to make sure I covered all my bases, I dotted all my I's, I crossed all my T's. I got my proposal page done, everything's tallied up, my proposal is tallied up, and, but now law says, at my company, my law department says, hey, let me review that right quick before you hit submit, right? Your last activity, this has happened. This has happened. Your last activity now is the date of the bid opening, but law says, no, we don't want to submit this at 10:30. That's their last keystroke was March 30th at 10:30, still in a draft status, right? So you didn't get to submit. But if you don't have those issues, if you don't have those problems, we had an issue at 10:58. Heartbreaking to Apple. It's just, it's personal to me. It's heartbreaking because that vendor left that charge to someone else to do, and they missed it. Period. We're still in discussion.
So it only becomes, it's a draft until it's submitted, and then at that point it becomes active.
Yes, ma'am, and at that time we can read it. But for the delegates, that's a different process. I promise I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know what they do at 4 o'clock.
And at the end, it will say bids submitted, right?
It'll say active.
Oh, just active.
Yes, ma'am.
So are we able to?
We can only read active bids.
Are you able to print off all this information that's needed
Yes,
before, so I can go in on this day that's open?
yes.
I can hit print, so I can print out all this information I'm gonna need, so I can gather and rub trap and talk to my colleagues or whatever,
Yes.
and then go back in and enter it.
Yes.
And, okay,
Jack, can we have like 3:15? Yes.
Okay, with this up there, I noticed like with the solicitation information, they don't give a date that they would say, okay, this solicitation will be reviewed, and so there's no time frame as far as making us aware or how long the process is for review.
No, ma'am. No. Nope. Okay, so are we clear on due date?
yeah, just the way to pay up, I'll be
That is correct. Questions, deadline for questions, very important. Let me see, so the deadline for questions was March 5th, it hit the paper on the 23rd, it opens on the 30th. So March the 5th, I don't see where they had a pre-bid. So the deadline for questions, somewhere in time in February, they may have had a pre-bid, a pre-submittal conference, where you came in, huddled, talked about it, got asked some questions, was shown how to submit your solicitation, and now you got questions. The deadline for questions for this particular line item is March the 5th, right? And you can't, once that is March the 5th, I guess that's 4 o'clock maybe, once that's done, I don't know, Army time, I think it's 4 o'clock, I don't know. March the 5th, they will not they will not accept any questions on March the 6th. Deadline for questions is over.
Is it, and that's done through the internet or
Yes,
that?
it's all through the internet. So that's why I'm asking for 15 minutes, so I can try to get you through that. Okay, so now, I'm not sure what that is. We looked at the abstract. But this is a list of our paper bids, right? So anything that is not an e-solicitation, and you click on non-e-solicit, that link that said non-e-procurements, that's this listing right here. So that's just to show you that, these are still paper bids, and most of them right here, you can see are aviation and, work services, as I stated, are not e-solicitations just as yet. So we have a few in our vehicles. Okay, so these are all paper bids, and paper bids can be picked up in room 103 downstairs at the bid and bond room, where that's also the room that we read our e-solicitations and our paper bids from.
So the only way to get that information is to go pick it up.
Paper bids, yes. Well, two things, sir, two things. Here we do have a, here's the solicitation document here. It is a PDF of the solicitation document. And then you would send the bid and bond, if you're gonna download the paper bid, then you would send the bid and bond room, and there's, notification within the solicitation document to send the bid and bond room your business card, and then they would upload or download your business card and add it to the takeout list of a vendor for paper bids, okay? Get that? Okay, help. So as I stated, we now have a help desk. It's managed and maintained by, the company NTT Data. They are, we previously had, an email box, which was, eProcsupport@cityofchicago.org. I primarily managed and maintained that email box myself for over a year and a half. Now I have support, with, NTT Data, and so that email address now routes directly to them. So I wait for them to send me a trouble ticket, and if there's anything that I need to do to assist the vendor, that's how that happens, okay? So now the number is 312-744-HELP, and I see here that this page needs updating because I don't see the email address, and it's, customer support at cityofchicago.org. For payments and invoice inquiries, their email address will be up under this link right here. For login assistance, that again is going to route to customer support email. Again, eProcurement, even for delegate agencies as well, it's also part of this now. So delegate agency questions will also route to customer support. Now, so I thought I said I was going to remember it. I hope so. So what I want to do is walk you through an e-solicitation. I picked something that was kind of short with not a whole lot of line items. So I have to go through.
Hopefully it's not construction.
So, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said hopefully it's not construction.
No, not at all. That's not. No. Hold on. So, when you log in, when you register to be an iSupplier vendor and or request an invitation, and all that's been done, you're going to get an email from Workflow Mailer. Okay, it's coming from the City of Chicago Workflow Mailer. It is going to have your username there and a temporary password. Okay. Once you change that temporary password to your password, then you're able to log into Oracle right here. So I'm going to use my test vendor and my test vendor name, and I'm going to log into Oracle as a vendor as you. Your email address is always going to be your user ID. I'm logging in, y'all logging in, we're getting ready to submit a solicitation. Big picture, right here. Left to right. Main menu. You have two responsibilities. Real world, it go all the way down here. Okay, but for the vendors, you get these two. City of Chicago iSupplier portal with invoice creation, payments, receipts, invoices, your admin tab to update your vendor record. I'll click there right quick. While we're waiting on the blue span, work list right here. Once you start bidding on solicitations and talking to the specialist, all that's going to be maintained right there in that spot right there. So here you have your home page. This whole iSupplier portal with invoice creation is about payments and invoices, receipts, and it says shipments and your admin tab. So all of this is orders and shipments, and finance is just that, finance. Right here, this tab, admin, is your vendor record. And let me see, I got it. Here, supplier number, vendor name change. Supplier number is your vendor number. What's my vendor number for the city of Chicago? 101911315. That's my vendor number. Oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, what is my site? What is my address? Address book, right here. 121 North LaSalle. What is an address name? That's the city of Chicago site code. It's always an alphabet. What we get in the registration process is the vendor doesn't know that the address name for us is an alphabet, but so they put their whole business name there. We changed it to an alphabet because it's a A, B, C, D, however many addresses you have. Okay. Update, right here at the pencil. If you hit remove, it's going to inactivate it. So let's just say I want to create and add a new address. Just because you're here. If your address has changed, don't create a new one. Update this one, right? But if you have two addresses, you want a bill to address, and you want to ship to address, your contracts are always going to be with this A, always. Unless you specify otherwise to the vendor. Because if you have another address and you want your contracts to be up under B, if we have more than one, you have to inform. Because they're going to say A is for your, and A is going to be for your contract, and B might be your event. Right? So that's that for that. To come out of contact, you can have as many people as you want to be signed up for iSupplier, but only one of you can begin and finish a solicitation. Okay? You can't start a solicitation and then somebody else logs in up under their user ID and password and attempt to go to the same solicitation you were on. You can't do it. No one can see anyone else's solicitation, okay, from the company and or otherwise. If in fact that if you want that individual, which we discourage, If you want that individual to continue on the solicitation that you began, then you have to give them your log on to this. If that's not what you want to do, they can log on with their own credentials and start over, and you can print out the pages that you did or whatever, and they can copy them, however you want to do that. But they can't go in and use your credentials. If you want to update that, here's your pencil right here, you can update. When you want to add, create another user, you have to go to create. And in order for them to have a user account, it must be marked. That's how we know when a vendor has a vendor code, but they are not, and they have a contact name, but this user account does not have a checkbox in it. That means to us, they're not an iSupplier vendor, okay? And in order for them to be an iSupplier vendor, you have to select that part when you hit create. It's in there. You have to give them access, okay? So you can do that. To come out of this, you hit home. Oh, one more thing while I'm here. Preferences. When I hit home, we're gonna be back on the Oracle page. But if you want any notifications, and I suggest this, any notifications to come to your email box, put your email address in here, and then select HTML mail with attachment down here at the bottom. That way, you don't have to always be logged into Oracle. If an online discussion comes because it's an addendum or an amendment, and you want to be for you to be notified, it has to come through Oracle. You're not at a computer, right? You're not logging in tonight. It'll come to your email address. So we advise that. I want to come out of this. I'm going home. Home. It's going to take me back. Work list, right here. When you begin to have your online discussions, that's all going to drop in this work list box. When you submit your solicitation, your response number and all that's all going to drop in your work list box. Okay? So now we've been there we've done the iSupplier portal. Now we want to submit a bid solicitation. So you go to your second folder, City of Chicago Online Bidding, plus box, sourcing, plus box, sourcing homepage. Double click, single click. Your page is going to look just like this. Blank. Nothing's there. Because we haven't done anything. So, here. You have one tab, negotiations. Negotiations are solicitations. Search open solicitations. Now this is not our design, okay? This is Oracle's design. This is out the box. So if one word means one thing, if one word reads one way, it means the same thing. A negotiation is solicitation. Okay? So it says open, search open solicitation. Title is actually the specification number. I don't use it. You can. I don't. Because it doesn't say spec. And that's because the terminology changed. Drop down menu, number, RFQ. Trying to remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Open solicitation, there's open solicitation. You go to the abstracts, right? We went to the abstract. There's open solicitations there. Hold on, guys. Okay. These are active. These are active solicitations. Details here is where you would click to open up to look at a PDF. I need to tell you that. It may tell you to come up here and click the PDF file. That's if you're logged in. You should be able to open this PDF from right here. Okay. And write it down. Okay. Let's just say we're looking at the abstract. I'm looking at the abstract, and I know that I want to bid on, okay, air it out, and I want to bid on a specific number. And I want to bid, oh, it's up, now see, it's already a modification, okay. Okay. I entered 6852. Since lunchtime, before I came up here, the specialist has an addendum, just at that. Okay. Now,
Is that
I'm
what the
kind of
dot
glad I
number
came
at the
back.
end means?
I'm sorry?
Is that what the dot number at the end means?
Yeah, right. So you can search for your, well, I'm kind of going to, we got different methods, so I'll skip that part, I'm sorry. So here's your solicitation number. I started at 6852. Now it's a comma 1. Here's a comma 2, right? The comma after the RFQ number, solicitation number, means there's something happened. Amendment or addendum. An amendment or an addendum has occurred. Okay. And you must acknowledge it. And I hope that it populates here. Oh, I'm in text, well, it's all in text, but it's kind of, we've done a refresh, I'm not sure, but I really don't know. I didn't, generally when I do a workshop, I do it first, and then I sign in as another test vendor and do it baby fresh for you guys, but this is straight baby fresh, because I didn't have time to really dwell into it today. I just wanted to make sure it didn't have 100 line items. So, from left to right, you've logged in, you're the vendor, and now you want to submit your bid solicitation. You have to select the number, make sure, here's your specification number, this is the title that you know that you want to bid on. The contract, used to be the contract, used to be the contract negotiator now, or buyer, now they are procurement specialist. So this is the individual who is putting the contract together for the using department. Time left, we got 14 days and 9 hours before the response is due. The close date is January 31st. That's also what the response due date. Your responses are sealed. Right now, currently, 0 companies have responded. Right. So now, I want to look at the solicitation, and right now, I'm testing the theory because I've heard more than once. So we're going to blue span, because I've selected the RFQ, the solicitation number, RFQ number. So now I'm looking at it. Your front page is very important down here. This is the specialist saying to you, vendor, I need for you to submit these pages right here. All these attachments. Okay. Now, the advantages. Your bid execution page, that's where your company signs off on who is submitting this bid. MVW special conditions, the special conditions to the solicitation. Right here, from here down, it looks to me as though these are incentives. Incentives are an advantage to the vendor in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It is the city is saying, we will do something for you, give you something, percentages up, percentages off. If you are qualified for these city incentives here. That's what this is all about. Okay. They even have a new one now, well, it was new to me when I read it. I think it's ex-offenders. Let's see, it's 10 pages. I mean, it says next 10. Yeah. So, wow. Not all solicitations require all of the incentives, or the user department who's letting the contract says these provisions or these incentives to be included in this. And right here, they have quite a few.
So what are they really asking for here? You click on one of those.
You gotta, I think you have to sign.
Just have to sign those?
Yeah, yeah. So most of them are fillable forms, most of them, are fillable, and, especially the, well, the bid executions, you have to sign, that's a wet signature. And it's uploaded. So that's here. Top to bottom, well, before we get to the bottom, you have the title, again, spec number, title of the specification. The status right now is active. We got 14 days and 19 hours. The supplier response start date, the date it hit the paper was December the 26th, and the date that this is going to open and is due is on the 31st of January. Again, our buyer is LC Vasquez. All quotes are sealed. The outcome, well, this is telling us that the outcome is telling us that this is a blanket, which is terms. It's going to go from a time to a time. You could see it says outcome standard. There is no time. It's not for a 5-year period. A standard can go forever. Okay.
Wait, can you say that again, please?
The outcome is a blanket purchase agreement. A blanket purchase agreement is a termed contract. It goes from a time to a time. 36 months, 60 months, 72, 80. Yeah. Standards are not termed. We do not have a start and end date on that. The event, again, is commodities. The using department is water. I do believe there's information inside of here, but it's from the specialist to us. Now, what I'm noticing, it may be different. I think I have to do something else. Let's see. I don't want to spin your wheels and waste your time. So now we're in here, right? Header and line. That's all you need. Header and line. But how do I submit my solicitation? When do I begin to do it? Actions, drop down menu, create a quote. Hit go. Actions, drop down menu, create a quote is always lead, hit go. Now, I see 2 boxes. One is highlighted, one is not. Here are my terms and conditions. And what this little paragraph here is saying, you are about to enter into an e-solicitation, and it's not our fault if you make a mistake and don't hit submit. Okay, that's our disclaimer. In order for you, and it's not verbatim what it says, but bottom line, this is an electronic solicitation, something happens. You time out, we time out, right? If there's a failure if we have a server mishap, it can happen. You have a server mishap. Your person who you left in charge to submit that bid didn't. It's not our So now, I get the question. Why can't I submit my solicitation? Why can't I? Well, you didn't hit accept. You have to come down here. And the part about it is that you're up here, it's down there. So you have to scroll down. Hit accept. I've read the terms and conditions and it's okay. I accept it. Now accept is highlighted, click it. I'm just trying to see how much it is to fill out. Okay. Left to right. You can cancel it. You can view the RFQ when you paper document. If this was 50 lines or more lines, right here, this tab right here for lines, if it was 50 lines or more, we have up to 700 and beyond, depending on the type of contract, which is generally a construction. Quote by spreadsheet. We won't need to use that for this example today. Save and save often. Keystroke save, keystroke save. And then when you get done with this page, you can continue.
So at what point will we have to use the quote by spreadsheet?
50 line items or
Or
more.
more, 50, okay, 50 more.
And the quote by spreadsheet is way cool because it does our calculation for you. You know. It does the lines and everything. It's real cool. Very user friendly. It didn't
funny.
happen.
You're funny, user friendly, okay.
It is user friendly. It is user friendly. Okay, I thought you was gonna tell me no, it's not. So now, look, attachments, you're gonna have to add them, okay? Insurance certificate, your EDS, your your execution page, you're gonna have to add it. And we ask that when you're adding your attachments, that you would put the spec number first, and then its title. 1107750 insurance. Bid execution. So now this is the part that you guys have to fill out. It's called requirement. Requirement. So bidder's exception. Not sure, I don't, NA. Not applicable. Must have, oh, two things. When you are registering new vendor for a vendor number, when you're registering, you must submit a W-9 or it will get rejected. It's gonna come back to you saying, we need more information. This is what we need, this is what we need. Hey, sir, excuse me, sir. Workshop is on YouTube, Chicago DPS, today's date. Okay, so you can see the end of it. You're welcome.
I apologize after this.
Absolutely. Chicago DPS YouTube. Okay, so bidders exceptions, NA. Okay, EDS is required to submit an electronic solicitation, is a must. And for a vendor's registration, a W-9 is a must, okay?
EDS?
EDS, Economic Disclosure Statement, your company's ownership interest. Okay, so now my EDS number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, here we go. Each one of these boxes must be selected. Yes, no, yes, 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 no, 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 whatever, whichever, whatever. So we're gonna start selecting our boxes, yes? Yes. Yes. Oh, no, okay, right, simple. Proposal pages completed and notarized, yes. Are you a corporation? Yes. So you can't be a partnership, you can't be a joint venture, you can't be a sole proprietor because you're a corporation. So you're picking your, what is your company? The bid execution page, most definitely. Do you have any, are you requesting a waiver for MVWBE? Not sure, saying no. Certificate of filing your EDS is a must, so yes.
So what, that's what I'm gonna ask you, the EDS, when you get that off,
EDS on, online EDS at cityofchicago.org.
online?
Online EDS at cityofchicago.org. Certificate of insurance, yes. Now, we add our bid incentives. Generally, local, manufacturer, I'm not sure. Chicago Business Affidavit, yes, I see them fill that out. Some about the veterans, I see them fill that out. I'm not sure, I don't know what all of these affidavits are for or what they mean. I did try to read through some of them, but when they first came out, then they started adding more. Just believe it's an advantage to your vendors because you get a percentage off or you get percentages up or down. It's an advantage to the vendor to accept the bid incentive.
So it is an.
And it's an advantage to you, but then you have to qualify too. Once the procurement specialist reviews your solicitation, it'll be found whether you qualify for it or not. So bidder contact information, yes. Your qualifications, if required, yes. It says if required too, yeah. Okay, so your Schedule B, not a joint venture. You may have some subs, so Schedule C, you may be a sub. And then it says that there's more, 26 to 32. Okay. So a partial or full waiver, that's MVW waiver stuff, I'm not sure about it. Letters of certification, you may be certified if you're a women-owned or minority business. This is not a target market contract, so it's no. You're not a joint venture, and you may be a sub, you may be in the highest sub. I'm going to save my draft. Now here's my line. 3 lines. Yay. So now, the line items are here. You can read them if you want to. Whatever the line item is total in its total description. The estimated quantity is already there for you. What is your unit price? How much are you going to charge for 100,000 of these per? This would be per each. So, what is your figure? So you put your number here. People always say, you're going kind of low. I don't know. Okay. So now I put in my figures now. Save my draft. And it says, right here, confirmation, quote, 266155. I got a quote number now. Yay. But it's a draft. For this solicitation has been saved as a draft. Okay. So now I'm saved it. Now 6 and 5 2. So let's just say, well, do you want to see yourself as a draft or you want to see yourself as completed?
Please.
Good answer. Continue. At the bottom here. Now, submit at the top. It's shadowed out, right?
Right.
Okay. Come down to the bottom. I don't know what it is about the system, but I'm going to tell you first, you put your name in. So it wants your name, Pam. It wants your title, project coordinator, and then you submit. Then you click, then you can select this button here. I don't know why the system does it. It does. Now my submit, as you can see up here, is now highlighted. I'm going to hit the submit button. says that your quote has been submitted. Return to sourcing homepage. So we're going to return to the sourcing homepage. And my response status is active. Okay? If we had not submitted, it would have been a draft with a quote number, right? When the specialist does an amendment or a modification, this active is going to say requires attention, requires a submittal or something to that nature, meaning that you, the vendor, have to click on this response number and do something. Requires attention, something to that nature. Okay? So, thanks, Jack. This completes our overview of and how to submit a solicitation.
Once the system has closed out, this bid is closed, you cannot go, you would not be able to go back and view whether or not, the bid was awarded, disqualified, or anything like that, that status.
After when?
Once it's closed out,
Once the bid has opened?
closed. You can't, there's no way to go back into the system.
No,
Okay.
because it's over now. You can see your responses, yes.
Right.
You can see it, but it's not gonna, but you're not gonna see who else bidded on that. And
Or
what-
whether or not it was approved.
Correct, no. That's a whole nother,
Okay.
that's something totally different, recommendation of the board.
How do you register as a supplier? I've heard a lot of times, but maybe I'm missing something. Do I
What's your vendor name?
A.L. Alvarez, comma, I.N.C. period.
Associate.
Sorry?
What is it?
Alvarez, A.L. B.A.R.E.Z, comma, I.N.C. period.
A.L. Alvarez?
Yeah, Alvarez. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you're not currently a vendor with the city of Chicago, or do you think you are?
Well, they say to send an email in and you
Yeah.
get one back, is that right?
Sort of. What have you done that hasn't happened?
Well, no, I just tried to sign up and I sent,
How did you try to sign up?
let's see.
Okay. Did you register?
Oh, right there, okay, register, and then there are two separate processes.
Did you request an invitation because you're already a vendor, or did you
Oh, I
do a new
would have
vendor
to do the new
registration?
vendor registration.
Okay.
Do I need anything special for that?
Just to fill out these requirements.
And then that's it, and then after that, I just go to,
If you're doing a new vendor registration, yeah, that's a whole nother thing, another process. And if more information was required, you will be notified of it.
oh, okay.
You will be notified of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
I
then,
think this, although when I do the workshops, I don't follow this, so this is the same information that the workshop has.
oh, okay, do you have a copy?
Oh, you didn't get it, a word?
No.
Here, go right
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Not from, yes, that's the, PowerPoint presentation. Yes, ma'am.
So,
What's your company name, ma'am?
ABC Learning Center.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got childcare.
That's
Yes.
for,
Yes, ma'am.
oh, okay, so,
You're a vendor already, aren't you?
So to speak.
well,
So I see you had,
But that's a, so that's not me. Right. So, okay, that's not me. If, so what do you mean you submitted, you submitted solicitation?
to the department, you can try to find that specific bid.
Oh, well, you know, they pick,
Professional service then.
it's not a guarantee, I'm almost sure. Ours are not a guarantee.
right, but,
Yeah.
but they do let you know one way or
No,
the
ma'am, they do. And we don't let you know if you did not get, well, I don't know what, I don't know, I can't speak to that.
other.
You're going to have to you're gonna have to send an email to the,
I'm gonna write it.
It's taking class, yes.
We're not trying to get it in.
When we have the class,
Know if the review process is still
so,
in place.
you know, I
we
changed
assume
this
we
year,
get chosen
to make all of the
Yes,
fire
I don't know what their process is, I don't even, I don't know, I'm not sure what our process is.
For that is
The
we had
vendors
some
bid it,
classes,
and if they didn't win the solicitation, if we notify them, I must ask that.
instructors.
You said you,
I don't, I'm not sure if we do or not.
Yeah.
You know, I know we pick who we're gonna pick as the lowest and most lowest and
Oh.
very responsible bidder. And
Okay,
that
so
all the
sure.
requirements, so of course they have a recommendation to award, but I'm not sure if we let the other vendors be aware.
Okay.
Because we do a bid tabulation that where your bid is higher than the other.
Outside.
Off the top, you don't.
so there's no way we can find out.
I see.
Now, sometimes we have two
Oh,
classes.
so I have to contact.
One day.
Okay.
OBM GMU at
Right, right.
OBM GMU at cityofchicago.org. Write that down, that's how you contact.
What is it?
Oh,
OBM
okay.
Because the department,
GMU at
you know,
City of
shuts
Chicago.
down at
Yeah.
that time.
I see.
Okay.
So generally, the people who are teaching it have to go.
So, right, where's your partner?
Did you give me a 10, sir?
How do I?
10?
Yes, a 10.
Well,
Five stars?
there were no
You
stars,
supposed to
no
add it to,
rankings.
you supposed to add, you supposed to have to do it.
It said yes or no.
Backslash Chicago CPS.
So I was answering yes or no.
And then.
Supposed to step outside of the box.
Yes, they go to the
Oh, is that what it, oh, I missed that. It
And
didn't
you put
say.
in the title of
If
the.
they step outside of
But
the
you know, the
box.
terminology just don't ever line up. with-
But that's right.
None of
We
it
learned that, we learned
is
that.
intuitive at all, right?
Get out of Dodge. Thank
So
you.
your department is like, when I call down and say, I'm having a problem logging in, that's your department. Or I forgot my, whatever,
It'll go to the help desk.
just to the help desk.
Yes.